welcome back everyone. In part 1, we explored Chinua Achebe's contribution to postcolonial fiction in novel Things Fall Apart. Now, in part 2, we will discuss his novel Things Fall Apart and we will provide a brief summary of the story and an analysis of its key characters. The novel follows Okonkwo, a prominent Igbo warrior, as he struggles with personal ambition, family, and the disruptive impact of European colonialism on his society. Through the character of Okonkwo and the other characters like Nwoye, Azinma, and Abrika, Achebe examines themes of tradition, change, and cultural conflict, showing how individuals respond to both internal and external pressures. Let's move to the summary of the novel Things Fall Apart. Things Fall Apart takes place in 1980 in Igbo village in Nigeria. At this time, the British are colonizing Nigeria. Missionaries arrive as part of the colonial overtake, and Britain imposes a legal system to help convert the villagers to Christianity. The Igbo are among the last groups to be converted because their culture is both prosperous and democratic. Achebe highlights the strength of a well-functioning indigenous society and the cultural laws that accompanies colonial progress. Readers are introduced to Okonkwo, the protagonist of the novel. He is well respected in his village, Umofia, one of 9 villages of his clan. Okonkwo first gains fame by defeating Amalines the cat, the undefeated wrestling champion. Since then, he has become wealthy, married 3 wives, and fathered several children. His success contrasts sharply with the failures of his father, namely Yunuka, a gentle but irresponsible man who loved music and pleasure but died deep in debt. Ashamed of his father, Okonkwo strives to be his opposite, strong, hardworking, and fiercely masculine. Because of his father's laziness, Okonkwo had to fend for himself from an early age. A wealthy farmer recognizes his determination and lends him yam seeds to plant. Despite disastrous weather that ruins his first crop, Okonkwo perseveres and survives, believing he can endure any hardship. As a respected man, Okonkwo is chosen to look after a boy named Ikwefina, who is sent to Umofia by a neighboring village as a compensation for the murder of a woman. Ikwefina soon becomes part of Okonkwo's household and is treated like a son. Okonkwo's eldest son, Nwoye, grows close to Ikwefina and learns from him. Okonkwo is pleased, hoping Nwoye will become strong and manly rather than weak like his grandfather Yunuka. After 3 years, the oracle decrees that Ikwefina must be killed. An elder, Azudu, warns Okonkwo not to take part, but he does anyway, fearing that if he didn't, he will be thought as weak. The act haunts him, and Nwoye is deeply shaken, sensing that something sacred has been broken. Later, Okonkwo's daughter, Azinma, falls gravely ill. Her mother, Ekwefi, fears losing her as she has already lost many children before. Though Okonkwo rarely shows emotion, he tenderly cares for his daughter, gathering herbs and preparing medicines until she recovers. An unusual display of affection from the otherwise stern, strong man. Tragedy strikes again when Azudu dies. During his funeral, Okonkwo's gun accidentally explodes, killing Azudu's son. Because killing a clansman is a crime against the earth goddess, Okonkwo and his family are exiled for 7 years to Mabanta, his mother's village. There, his maternal kinsmen welcome and support him, though Okonkwo longs to return to his home, the father home. During Okonkwo's exile, his friend Abrika visits and tells him about the destruction of Abam, a clan wiped out by white men after they had killed a white messenger. The oracle had warned them that strangers would come and bring ruin like locusts. Soon missionaries arrive in Mabanta seeking land for a church. The villagers give them a plot in the evil forest, expecting them to die. When they survive, curiosity and conversions follow, including the first female convert and eventually the son of Okonkwo, Nwoye, who is drawn to the missionaries' message of kindness and peace. When Okonkwo discovers these, he beats his son violently. The son, Nwoy, leaves his father for the Christian mission in Umofia, causing Okonkwo great bitterness. He laments that living fire begets cold, impotent ash. After 7 years, when Okonkwo returns to Umofia, he is expecting to reclaim his old status. However, here he finds the village as completely changed. The missionaries have built a church and converted many, including his son, Nwoy. British officials have also established a government headed by a district commissioner who enforces colonial law. The first missionary, named as Mr. Brown, is tolerant and wins some respect by promoting education and dialogue. But his replacement, Mr. Smith, is harsh and fanatical. Under his influence, a convert named Enoch commits a grave offense by publicly unmasking an ancestral spirit. In retaliation, the clansmen destroy Enoch's compound and burn the church. The district commissioner responds by arresting Okonkwo and other village leaders. They are humiliated, beaten, and fined before being released. Enraged and humiliated, Okonkwo urges his clans to fight back. At a public meeting, when colonial messengers order the gathering to disperse, Okonkwo kills their leader. But the other men do nothing, realizing resistance is futile. Seeing that his people will not rise up, Okonkwo loses all hope. When the commissioner comes to arrest him, Obriko leads the officers to a tree where Okonkwo has hanged himself. Suicide is an abomination in Igbo culture, and his clansmen cannot bury him. They let the white men handle it. Furious, Obrika tells the commissioner that they have destroyed one of the greatest men in Umofia. The commissioner, thinking only of his colonial duties, reflects that Okonkwo's story might make an interesting paragraph in the book he plans to write, The Pacification of the Primitive Tribes of the Lower Nigeria. After the story, let's move to the character analysis. Okonkwo as a tragic hero. Okonkwo, the protagonist of Chinua Achebe's Thingful Apart, perfectly embodies the traits of a tragic hero as defined by Aristotle in Poetics. According to Aristotle, a tragic hero must be noble, consistent, and possesses a tragic flaw, hamasha, that leads to his downfall, evoking pity and fear to achieve catharsis. Okonkwo is introduced as a man of great strength, courage, and honor, admired by his clan for his hard work and achievements. From humble beginnings, he rises to prominence through sheer determination, becoming one of the most respected men in Umofia. His success as a wrestler is highlighted early in the novel. As a young man of 18, he had brought honor to his village by throwing Amaline's the cat. His fame spread like a bushfire in the Hamatan. Despite his stern nature, he shows tenderness towards Ekmefina, treating him like a son. Okonkwo himself became very fond of the boy. However, Okonkwo's greatness is overshadowed by his inner fear of weakness and failure, a fear deeply rooted in his hatred for his father Unoka. This fear becomes a martia, driving him towards excessive pride, rigidity, and uncontrollable anger. He participates in Ikmefina's death despite his affection for the boy, following the regal command because he fears appearing as weak. Dazed with fear, Okonkwo drew his mache and cut him down. He was afraid of being thought as weak. His downfall begins when his gun accidentally killed Azidu's son during a funeral, resulting in his exile for 7 years. Okonkwo's gun has exploded and a piece of iron had pierced the boy's heart. Upon returning, he finds his village altered by colonial influence and the disintegration of Umofia's traditions that mirrors his personal decline. In the end, his tragic fall and pride lead him to an undeserved and sorrowful death, the suicide. He is denied the burial rites of a noble man, emphasizing the tragic nature of his fate. That man was one of the greatest men in Umofia. You drove him to kill himself, and now he will be buried like a dog. His fall evokes both pity and fear, fulfilling Aristotle's definition of tragedy. Okonkwo dies not only as an individual defeated by his flaws, but as a symbol of the collapse of Igbo culture under colonial pressure. Thus, he stands as a true tragic hero, noble yet flawed, powerful yet powerless. The next character is Yunoka. Okonkwo's father represents the antithesis of his son's value. Though viewed by the clan as lazy and cowardly, Yunoka possesses a gentleness and artistic sensibility that contrast with the Okonkwo's severity. His love for music and conversation demonstrates a different, more human dimension of Igbo life, one that Okonkwo fails to appreciate. Eshibe describes him as, Yunoka, for all his weakness and fear of blood, was a lover of the good full fellowship. Though Yunoka, Eshibe suggests that cultural world cannot be measured solely by material success or masculine powers. Next is Ikmefina. Ikmefina serves as a symbolic figure in Okonkwo's household, bridging the emotional gap between father and son. His presence brings harmony, nurturing Nwoye's growth and softening. Okonkwo's harshness, yet Okonkwo's participation in Ikmefina's death exposes his moral rigidity and fear of weakness. Eshibe captures Okonkwo's inner torment after the killing. Okonkwo did not taste any food for 2 days after the death of Ikmefina. He drank palm wine from morning till night, and his eyes were red and fierce like the eyes of a rat when it was caught by the tail and dashed on the floor. The incidents mark a pivotal role collapse that foreshadows Okonkwo's eventual downfall. Next character is Nwoye. Nwoye represents a generational and ideological shift within Igbo society, sensitive and introspective. He is emotionally wounded by the violent masculinity his father embodies. The trauma of Ikmefina's death alienates him from Okonkwo, and his later convergent Christianity signifies both rebellion and spiritual renewal. Eshibe writes, Nwoye's callow mind was greatly puzzled. He felt relief within as the hymn poured into his parched soul. Next is Ekwifi. Ekwifi, Okonkwo's second wife, symbolizes resilience and maternal devotion in the face of suffering. Her tragic history of losing 9 children before Ezenma's birth reveals the emotional endurance of women within Igbo culture. Eshibe notes, she had borne 10 children and 9 of them had died in infancy, usually before the age of 3. Though Eshibe humanizes the pain and strength of women who, though often marginalized, sustain the fabric of their society. Next character is Ezenma. Ezenma stands at the emotional center of the novel and the embodiment of the balance between strength and sensitivity. Intelligent, assertive, and compassionate, she commands both her mother's affection and her father's admiration. Okonkwo's remark says, she should have been a boy. It is a pity she was not born as a boy. Reveals his recognition of her exceptional qualities within a system that undervalues women. Ezenma thus symbolizes the potential for renewal and transformation within traditional Igbo society. Obrika serves as Eshibe's moral and philosophical voice within the narrative. As his close friend, he balances loyalty with critical reflection, questioning customs that cause unnecessary sufferings. His empathy and reasoning distinguish him from Okonkwo's impulsive nature. When Okonkwo dies, Obrika's lament, that man was one of the greatest men in Umofia. You drove him to kill himself, and now he will be buried like a dog. This functions as both personal grief and cultural critique. Though Obrika, Eshibe illustrates the tragedy of colonial disruption and the moral complexities of resistance. That is all for today. I will see you all in the discussion forum on the novel Things Fall Apart, and we will discuss the characters. That is all for today. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.